Hi guys, I'm Jan from UJAM and today we'll have a look at how to score a track for the new Netflix anime series Yasuke, produced by Flying Lotus. Flying Lotus mainly uses the Yamaha CS-80 in his score, just like Vangelis did for Blade Runner. If you want to replicate the sound, you will need the synthesizer or a VST that contains CS-80 patches. For this video, I just looked up the sample pack by RGD2 on Splice, which contains analog CS-80 synth samples. Later on, I will use some of the CS-80 patches by Omnisphere. Let's take a listen into the RGD2 sample without any processing. As I only want the sample for the bass as background, I cut out the frequencies really tight and added some reverb to it and the Widen synth preset by Ozone Elements. No worries, if you don't have Ozone, you can also use this free width knob. Essentially, it does the same thing. Now we want to add a simple bass line under it. For that, I used the CS-80 Marcato strings patch from Omnisphere. That's how it sounds together with the sample. To highlight the peak of the score, I added the CS-80 Swell Verb patch, which sounds really similar to the soundtracks of Yasuke. In this FX section, I added a vintage compressor to make it less dynamic in volume and sit better in the mix. For this track, I chose the E-flat minor scale, which has a certain dramatic and tragic feeling. For a faster workflow, I always layer the scale of my stack behind my instruments, so it's easier to stay in the right scale. But don't feel limited to the scale, especially for Flying Lotus type soundtracks, you can experiment a lot. The last harmonic element we want to add is a mandolin guitar to give the track an Asian touch, which fits a lot to the theme of the show. For this, I used the granular mandolin tremolo patch in Omnisphere, and solo it sounds like this. And in context with the CS-80 like this. Now we're going to add some huge percussion and drums using our latest plugin release, Symphonic Elements DRUMS. Drums will give you an awesome collection of all kinds of percussion style phrases you need for scoring. As Yasuke is all about samurais and epic battles, I chose the tubular drums preset, which you can find in the battle style category. During the intro, I crossfaded drums all the way up to the low drums section. Right before the peak of the score, drums fades lightly into the high drums section to make it sound more dynamic. I also automated the syncopator mode of the finisher knob integrated in drums right before the drop to create some tension. I shaped and EQ'd the sound of drums a bit so it gets tighter and the low end is right on point. Turn it left to shorten and right to widen the length. Let's take a listen into the drums without any processing. As you can hear, there's a lot of low end going on. We recommend shortening the length up to 40 to 45% and the low end is on point. Now let's take a listen into the drums with the processing. also added this drum hit for wrapping the score up at the end. You can find the one shot in the black keys between C2 and C3. On top of that, I added a more airy groove to give it some movement. I chose the Dancing Sticks preset from the airy category. The metals behave like one-shot hits, but with the right motion and finisher settings, it transforms the metal one-shot into cinematic SFX. These sounds really give your score movement and uniqueness. Let's take a listen into it in context. I added another layer with one-shots only. I found some cool battle-style metals in the Take Army preset. Put a rhythmic delay on the Motion FX and you're done. Finally, I added some extra hits that I found in the preset Hot Hits from the Dirty category. I cross-faded drums all the way up to the left as I only want the lows from the hits. Let's take a listen into them. Now let's hear all drums instances together. Remember, this all comes from one plugin without any mixing processing. Flying Lotus also gave the score of Yasuke a modern twist by using 808 trapped sounds and rhythms, which is not very usual for film scores. I chose our latest Beatmaker GLORY, which fits perfectly into it. I used the default preset Per Keys, which comes with a style that runs normally on 179 BPM, but in this score I use 86 BPM, whereby this is too slow for GLORY. To fix this, open up the micro timing and set the speed on double time. Now GLORY will play correctly. I muted some of the instruments that I think are not necessary in this track, for example the 808. Click on the red M for muting the instruments you don't want to hear in the phrase. Let's take a listen into the combination of drums and GLORY. Perfect, this combination of cyber film music and modern hip-hop sounds exactly like what Flying Lotus did in Yasuke. This is pretty much everything you need to know before starting into scoring for Yasuke, just like Flying Lotus did. I hope you could take something away today, and please enjoy the final result.